I'm Natalie Knezik. I am the county extension agent in Lavaca County, which is little towns between Houston and Austin, Shiner, Hallettsville, Yoakum, Moulton, really small communities. And I have been a member of AAFCS for, I think it's 35 years. A while. And I am currently the vice president, or not the vice president, the president elect. And one of my roles in that position was to create some webinar opportunities. And when I asked people, what they would like more of, one of the things was, we know that we're members and we have benefits as members, but we haven't really peeled back the layers of the website and all the things that are there that are available to us. And then I was like, oh, well, that would be really neat if we could get people who aren't members to take a look at that and see what you would be able to access once you joined. Because if you go to our website, our national website, you don't see all of it unless you're a member and sign in with your member login. And so, Karen Athanas, that is our executive director for the national organization, is here as our guest presenter today. And I'm going to hand it off to her to introduce herself a little bit more and to give her presentation. And as we go through, if you'll make note of your questions, we're going to put all the questions at the end. That way, if she along the way answers something you were going to ask, then it'll be cleared up. And feel free at the end to either unmute and ask your questions or to put them in the chat. And so, Karen, it's all yours.
Well, thank you so much. And it is great to meet all of you. I love that we have members and non-members on because there's a lot of resources on the website that I think are really helpful and you don't need to log in to find them. So I'll show you a little bit of both to give you that background. I have prepared a couple of slides, but maybe just tell you about myself. I joined the AAFCS back in 2023. So relatively new to family and consumer sciences. I have a bachelor's degree in biology and a master's in forensic science. So I've spent the majority of my career in the nonprofit space working in accreditation, conformity assessment, and standardization. So I came into it really having worked in the consumer education and safety space for the majority of my time. And that's where I saw the linearity between my expertise and family and consumer sciences, where you have a calling to support consumers, to educate and inform and better prepare individuals for life skills and work skills. And a consumer education and safety is very much like that as well, where we care deeply about informing consumers about potential safety risks, how to properly use products and services, and making sure that they do work properly through standardization and accreditation. And you'll see that the AAFCS does similar actions. We are an accreditation body for college and university programs. We're also the credentialing body for early career professionals and professionals. So as an example, before you get your bachelor's degree, you can get a credential in quite a few different AAFCS content areas. And then once you do get your bachelor's degree, we've got a range of credentials. And I have one now as well. I've passed my test, so I have the Certified Family and Consumer Sciences credential. So just to walk you through some of my slides and kind of the benefits of membership. And I like to point out that I think everybody should join a professional organization. If it isn't ours, there might be another one that's better fit, but all of them provide these special resources, this special community that helps you grow within your career. And so I'm a member of several different organizations because they've really come together to give me professional development, support, and those connections to help me grow within my space. So if we start off talking about exploring career pathways, within the family consumer sciences, we have over 350 occupations that our professionals work in, and that spans 215 industries. So it can be difficult to identify which career pathway is going to be your target, but also you have a lot of opportunity to pivot when necessary. And I think we all can see in this economy, you might need to rethink where your skill set fits and what the best career pathway is for you. So from the AAFCS, we have several different pages related to career exploration to help you identify where you might want to pivot, to get inspired by past FCS professionals that have done some unique things within their careers. We have interviewed quite a few of those professionals. We have that in our career spotlights, and I will show you where to find them within our Think FCS platform. And then we also have published a economic industry study, which provides you with information about where our professionals work, the salaries available in those positions, which industries they fall within, so that helps inform. And we hope that it will also help students as they're, trying to map out their future and which degrees they'd like to pursue. And then finally, we have a page called our FCS Stories page. There you're going to find case studies. You're going to find our Faces of FCS pages, which tell you about specific individuals within FCS and their stories. And you might find some inspiration there about, hey, I could do that. I could definitely see myself filling that type of role. And it will help you find direction, because understanding who they work for, which employers look for that type of skill set, then you can pursue similar companies or government agencies. And I can show you where a few of these pages are if you'd like me to do that when we're looking at the website. All right. And I mentioned this a little bit, but I love how you can connect with different individuals as part of a membership organization. Whether you do it virtually through the chat forums, if you do it in person at conferences and events, we do have what we call our letter links, where you could get a pen pal and start to connect with somebody through snail mail, as well as looking for, say, a research partner or somebody to come together on a project with you. And through those relationships, we have our Leadership Academy, where you can find a mentor and really enhance your leadership skills. But you can also just post questions. Our forums are open to everyone. If you're looking to hire, you can post a job posting. If you're looking for a job, you can let everybody know and post your resume. If you are trying to tackle projects, so you have a special challenge within your classroom and you're not sure how to approach it, it does give you an opportunity to hear from other people how they would approach it, how they would handle it, and maybe give you some new ideas you hadn't heard of before. We do have the members opt in to share their contact information. So if you're looking for someone specific, you might be able to message them in the platform and connect with them that way. At the in-person events, we encourage individuals to share information and get to know each other. We try to organize networking so that you have more of an engaged opportunity to do that. But certainly encouraging everyone to really build that community. And maybe a final note on this that I would bring up is we have what we call our communities. And those are special groups that have formed around a specific purpose. So as an example, we have our diversity and inclusion community. We have our colleges, universities, and research community. And so I think there's maybe 10 currently. They're listed on our website. And if you have a specific interest area, you can join that community and meet like-minded individuals on that topic. So as an example, our apparel, textile, and design community is all individuals that work in that space, so they're able to get creative with each other. Also, the AAFCS prepares and publishes professional development specific to family and consumer sciences. And we try to hit that balance between the different content areas that we know our professionals work in. It's all available through on-demand learning. And not just that, but our journals are published there as well now, so that you can download articles, share them with each other, print them out if you want to hand them out to colleagues or students. And we also allow for our affiliates to apply for PDU credit, so that their events as well will include professional development units. And that's especially important for our professionals that do have the certification, so they can maintain their certification. So here's just a couple examples of the content you find within our Think FCS platform. It includes webinars. We do emerging topics, which is our Powering the Profession series, where we invite other nonprofits to talk about emerging issues. So as an example, last year we had an expert come in to talk to us about perfluorochlorate, which is called PFAS, which is a flame retardant that they include in a lot of textiles. They also use it as a non-stick coating on cookware, but they found that many of them are carcinogenic. And so there's a regulatory movement happening to limit or remove PFAS from different materials. And we wanted to make sure that our members understood the issues, understood what that chemical or that series of chemicals was, and the actions being taken so that they could inform the individuals and families that they work with. We also do our career spotlights. Those are pre-recorded. They include an interview with an individual. It's also a downloadable flyer and some other material. And it focuses on the different occupational areas that FCS professionals work in. Our virtual professional development is a series of trainings. We typically do about 6 a year where we coordinate with an expert and we develop a series of different virtual content. It also typically includes downloads and also a quiz so that you can get those professional development units. I'll show you a couple. Our AI Academy is one example. And just to build on that, our AI Academy was the first one we did that included a micro-credential, but we actually have several now that offer the micro-credential. And then you can see here that we are going to be rolling out later this year an opportunity that if you read our Journal of Family Consumer Sciences, you can gain professional development units. So what we're doing is we're developing a series of questions to go along with the article to ensure that you have gained the lessons learned or the competency that's included in that article. And by completing that and reading the article, you can gain either a half unit or a unit. All right. And like many organizations, we do offer a range of scholarships, internships, awards, grants to our members. We do have a larger than normal endowment because we've had some wonderful FCS professionals who have either fundraised for these special grants or awards or have donated to the organization to create these endowments. And so you can see here that in this year, we gave out 17 awards and 7 grants. We really want to encourage more research and development within the FCS space. And so we've got a range of grants that have been made available. And many of them are brand new as of last year. So I encourage you to take a look at those. We also want to encourage additional dialogue about different topics. And so this helps us to fund FCS professionals as they pursue those areas. And we're actually going to be rolling out a new grant making program later this year that you will have to pay attention to see when it rolls out, because I don't want to give you a sneak peek, but it's going to be great. All right. And then we do try to keep the FCS profession informed about changes within the industry. I mentioned that we do the Powering the Profession, but we do have 2 journals that we publish. All members get the Journal of Family Consumer Sciences. That's included with your membership. You can access it through the Think FCS platform. And like I said, you can download any of the articles and print them. The Family Consumer Sciences Research Journal is provided at a significant discount to members, and then it is published by Wiley. And so you would purchase it through the AAFCS, and then we would subscribe you through the Wiley platform. And if you're unfamiliar, the journal is very robust in research. And so if you like statistics and you like research, that's the one to go with. All right, and my final slide before we jump into the demo is I wanted to talk about how working with a professional organization helps you to build not just your resume, but really your professional presence and credentials. A lot of your career trajectory is driven by the contacts that you make and the opportunities that you're able to take advantage of. So that might be speaking opportunities. It might be opportunities to lead groups, to be chair, to move up into a leadership structure and show that you can handle that additional responsibility. Doing it within the nonprofit, you can then show your employer that you have those skill sets, and it might help you advance within your career, not only within the nonprofit itself. I certainly have been able to take advantage of that where I was working I joined a nonprofit, I became chair of a committee, and then the chair always sits on the board. So I immediately got onto the board. And so I've been sitting on boards for probably the last 10 years because of that, because I had an opportunity early on in my career to sit on a board and really learn how boards are led and to see a strong board with a strong set of officers and get that experience. And that's something unique to nonprofits where you can have those opportunities because we're always looking for volunteers to help us with different projects. Beyond that, certainly publishing is great. It shows your expertise and skill set. And I always say it's great to give back. You know, even if you're not thinking about your professional advancement, being able to help students or early career professionals advance within family consumer sciences, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel that you're improving the discipline, improving the industry. And really giving back to all those individuals that helps you get the leg up. So there's a lot of benefits to being part of that ecosystem. So the second part of this presentation is I really wanted to walk you through the website and show you where to find certain things, but I encourage you to post questions and ask me to show you different pages, maybe some of the things I mentioned during the slides, so that I can show you where to find those on the website. So if I minimize this, you can see I've got the website up. This is the website here. So it's www.aafcs.org. We do have several supplemental websites, so don't get thrown off by that. And I'll just show you one so that you're not surprised. The advocacy website is actually a separate website. So you can see here it's the same URL, but it actually takes you to a totally different site. And all of our affiliates are similarly designed. This is our website affiliate system. And so you'll see that all of our affiliates, if they use our websites, have the 4 boxes. They have the header at the top. But the advocacy website is your place to find information about promoting family consumer science from a policy perspective. So we, as on behalf of the AAFCS, do a lot of education for policymakers. I'm just on the Hill now. That's why I'm here in Washington, D.C. and calling in from our offices as I was meeting with senators yesterday. But you can see we've got quite a few actions. We have a lot of resources on this page. This is a public page, so members and non-members can make use of it. I think the only big thing that you would need to be a member and signed in to see is we have a tool. I think this is the right tab. Yes, we have a tool that allows you to search FCS related legislation in any state in the United States. You have to be logged in to see this interactive map, but how it works is, say you're in New York and you want to see legislation in New York related to family consumer sciences, you click it, and it will filter the list to show you legislation in New York that we have flagged as related to family consumer sciences or impacting our FCS professionals. So it helps keep you informed in your state about actions that might affect you so that you can prepare for them. Maybe you can educate about them. And then when they do happen, you're already ready. Now, if I go back to the main site, it's structured. You can see the tabs at the top, but we were thinking of like, we only want you to click 3 times. Now, I admit there's some areas that make you click more than that, but just to give you the bare bones. And I see more than most people, so please don't be confused by the admin. You will not see the admin. But when all members, when they're signed in, will see the My AAFCS. That's how you manage your membership. So we've got some the communities, we've got our main menu, we have a help page that helps you get through the website. And then we do have a directory, so you can look up members and try to connect with them. So a lot of that is under that My AAFCS that you would need to be logged in to access. A few things that I showed you in my slides is under the About, we have About FCS. And I love to share this page with individuals that are like, hey, what's family consumer sciences? What do I need to know about that? Because we have assembled a lot of information about family consumer sciences, including all of our different icons for the various phrasings. These are all used by different colleges and universities, but it all means family consumer sciences at the end of the day. We also have a great publication from the Alliance for Family Consumer Sciences that the AAFCS is the managing partner. And this document explains, again, what is family consumer sciences. It gives several examples. It talks about the legislation that supports family consumer sciences within the career and technical education space. And what I love is at the end of it, it talks about different content areas and it relates them to occupational areas that you're going to find in the Department of Labor. So it helps to explain to lay individuals, oh, we work in this occupation, we work in this occupation. It has links to the government website and things on salary. So we've been able to share this out, and it's really helpful to, say, policymakers or boards of education to better understand family and consumer sciences. And then I love this page, so I wanted to make sure you all saw it. And this was from the About FCS. I just clicked on this to read their stories, and it takes you to the People of FCS page. And this is where you're going to find stories about FCS professionals. So here's our story about Ellen, who is the founder of AAFCS. We also have quite a few case studies that were developed by our public policy community. Our past presidents unit is starting to develop these impact stories. So I try to list the states so you can look for one that's related to your state, and they are developing more, but you can see here they talk about programs offered by FCS professionals and the impact that they had within their communities. And this is the Faces of FCS that I mentioned earlier. So we've gotten some great stories. Here's Cindy's. I will spotlight Cindy. Where they have submitted their what got them into FCS, what are they working in now, how do they feel FCS contributes to the communities, what do they love about FCS. And so these are really helpful if people are trying to decide if they're going to get into family and consumer sciences, to have that example and say, hey, does that sound like something I would enjoy doing? I encourage you to check this page out. We've got quotes from different news stories and so forth. All right, let me show you some of the behind the scenes stuff at the AAFCS. So we're going to go to the member homepage. So when you log in as a member, you actually see this view. All right, so this is the member signed in view. We do try to switch these out so that you have different reminders of upcoming activities. One of these is our letter link, so I wanted to show you that. And the letter links, like I said, is a pen pal club. So you sign up and we connect you with another FCS person and you write letters to each other. And I have one as well. I find it really fun. It also connects you to our main areas. Elevate is for promotion of family consumer sciences. Invest is about professional development and credentialing. Committing is about saying yes to family consumer sciences. And the Think is our professional development platform. If we go down, this site helps you get to different areas very quickly. So if you need to renew your membership, as an example, and it also connects to all of our online forums. So if you are in different groups, say you're in a community or you're in the all member forum and someone posts an update, you're actually going to see that here. It's kind of like the Facebook page where you want to see what your friend said yesterday. It works the same way. If somebody has posted to one of the forums, you're going to get a summary of the recent activity. And you might say, oh, hey, I see that Sue posted this comment. I need to go check that out and see what she said, and I can respond to her. You can see on the right, it also helps you find other professionals that are a member that you might want to connect to. So I could add them, I could send them a message and see how they're doing. And you can see our online forums as well. I can give you a tour, a little bit of the online forums. You get kind of a picture of what they look like. I can click one of these if I want to go to the hot button, but I'm going to show you all of my forums so you kind of see the list. I have a very long list of forums, so please forgive me. It's going to look like a lot. When you register for conference, we have a forum for that so that attendees can talk to each other. We've got a couple there. There is a forum for the advocacy website where if you want to talk about policy with other people, you have that opportunity. And you can see I'm in the board and so forth. If you are in a committee, it shows up here as well. But here you can see all of our communities. We've got apparel, textile design, building leadership capacity, business and entrepreneurship, the college, university, and research that I mentioned, diversity and inclusion. And what I love about the forums is it allows you not only to talk to each other, but also share documents. And you can also look up the members within that community. So if I picked one, I'm just going to pick CUR. We call it CUR for short. We have this nice landing page, which lets you know what the purpose of the community is. The homepage also gives you kind of quick updates about what happened in that community. But then you have this series of tabs to pick from. So if I click on members, you can see who else is part of this community. And if they have opted in to share their information, it's going to show up there. If there is a meeting scheduled, it'll show up under events and you'd be able to download the file and add it to your calendar. We do have a library so you can share documents. It's pretty neat. You can see documents here, but we also have a file system for the documents. This is not a great example. Some of mine have some really great file systems. Ignore the blog. Nobody uses the blog. I just see it because I'm an admin. And then you can see the discussion board. So you can respond to somebody else's comment. You can create a new comment. You can see how many people have responded and when people posted. So it's very interactive, giving you opportunities to seek advice and feedback from each other. So we're really happy about this. And we're always creating more forums because people want to talk about different topics and have kind of subgroups that they discuss in. Those were the areas of the main website that I wanted to show you. And I wanted to jump over to the Think FCS platform to walk you through that. I went back to the home page because it is linked right here. If you're a non-member, you would go to the home page and just click the Think button. And it will take you to here, which is our Think FCS platform. You do not need to be a member to create an account and sign in. And there is content available on the platform that you would not need to be a member to have access to. You also could purchase the content as a non-member if you did want access to, say, one module and not the full library. So I'm signed in right now. If you are a member, you would go to step 2 and just sign in with your My AAFCS login and password. If you are not a member, you'll want to create an account first and then sign in. And don't worry that creating that account actually puts you into our main website. So if you did join later as a member, you'd use the exact same sign in and password. And then once you're signed in, you can start exploring the site. So to give you kind of a walkthrough, we do host live webinars, and generally we host them through this platform. So if you're going to be registering for a live webinar, you would go up here to events and click the live events. And from there, you would see which ones are available and be able to register. We don't have any right now, but you can see some of the past events we've hosted through this platform. All right. And then we also have all of our content organized in 2 different ways to make it easier for you to find it. We have these general buckets of content type, and then we have the content area, so the different areas of family consumer sciences you might be interested in. And then our body of knowledge is our general family consumer sciences body of knowledge. And then further down, we have our most recent content in our bundles and series. So I mentioned the AI Academy earlier. This is the quick way to get there. Currently, our From Plate to Practice is our new series. I believe we've released 2 out of 4 webinars, so there's 2 to go. And this is last year's series, the Leading in the Lab, Foundations of Lab Management. So all of these are multi-webinar sessions. And the AI Academy and I believe the Leading in the Lab come with a micro-credential. I had mentioned the Powering the Profession series, so that's where you would find those webinars. We have some really interesting stuff on carbon monoxide, on PFAS, like I mentioned, on electrical safety in the home, and we're coordinating a few others with some partners to offer later this year that I'm pretty excited about. So to walk through a few of these, if I go to the content area, we were talking about journals earlier. You would find those right here. All right. So you can see we've got some of our regular publications, standalone publications, where you can click in and read through. We also have our AAFCS in action. So that was an insert that was part of the Journal on Family Consumer Sciences. I would definitely check them out. What they were was ways to implement the learning into your workplace. So it was interactive activities and suggestions, especially for those doing curriculum, on how to take the articles and then implement them. And then you can see here is a regular issue of the Journal of Family Consumer Sciences. If I click into it, it has several different video presentations. I believe all of these are specific articles that you then can download and print. Yeah, so you can see here, I can go through the different pages, read through them. I can also download the slides for printing. And then it does give you a summary so that if you're searching the site, it would pull up by the keywords that you wrote. All right, and if I go back to the homepage, and this is fun because I don't know if that goes, it does, it goes to the homepage. I was worried it was going to take us back to the website, but that's what this button is for. Other ones of these tabs is we do have podcasts. So every month last year, I did a podcast on different topics. There's some really interesting interviews with FCS professionals captured in there. Also, we have our PDUs, and then finally, educational resources. And these are organized in the different buckets, but you'll find all of the content in different spots. So these are virtual professional development, on-demand development that you can go through and get a certain number of professional development units, depending on which one you're taking. It's based on the level of content and the number of hours that they estimate. So you can see here, this counts for one CFCS professional development unit. It tells you about the presenters of that session, as well as a lot of different resources available to it. So you can see here that it's a live binder, it's a on-demand video, there's also a link to a toolkit. So, we've got it for different levels of your profession. And so you can search through based on your content area, where you are in your profession. It might be that you have a student and you say, hey, I would like you to learn more about some of our historic figures, so I want you to watch this webinar. But we've gotten a lot of attention for those different modules, and I know a lot of my staff have watched them as well, so it's kind of neat. And then the great thing about this platform is it talks directly to our system. So if you are a member, you don't have to separately report your professional development units to us. The Think FCS platform actually does that for you to your account, and so that we can see it from our side of the system. So going back to the website, I'm going to open it up. Are there any questions or pages in the site that you would like me to dive into?
You mentioned the purple. I was looking at the website as you were talking. The one thing that I couldn't find, is there a link to all the state websites?
Yes, there is. So if I go to membership and click affiliates, that's going to take you to the list of our active affiliates. There, and it just loaded. And I was just redesigning this page, so it might look different than it did a couple of weeks ago. What we've been working on is registering all of our student units so that we can also list them under the state to make it easier for our prospective student members to find a chapter for them to join. But each of these is an active or current recognized AAFCS affiliate. These should link to their active web pages. If they don't have a web page, it's actually an email to their membership coordinator. But I believe the majority of them do have a website. You can see here, this is the Alabama affiliates website. They've got some great material and information. I know I just assisted Wyoming with launching their site. So I will jump down to them. And there you can see this, it's similar to the advocacy website because this is our new format for websites. A great question. That would, again, it's membership and then at the bottom affiliates. There's also a way to get to it through our groups, units, and committees, but it takes you to this page. So I find that one's the easiest way to go.
I think Texas is on the list to get a new website.
And they might be. And so they should reach out to me. I do have a list of those working on new websites. It does look like you've transitioned, but I also am the point of contact for any training or support that you might need with the new website. But it looks really nice.
Okay, when I click on it from my side, it looks different. Maybe it's because I haven't completed my profile.
Maybe. Well, let's connect offline because it might be also that you are an admin, and so it's showing you more features. I would have to check.
Can you show us again the body of knowledge, and for the ones that are not members, give a little backstory on what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited about that, showing you this because we have implemented a interactive tool on that website just recently. So I get to show you the interactive functionality. So I went to the what is FCS page under here about what is FCS. And then if I scroll down, you're going to see the body of knowledge symbol. And that is how we get to the body of knowledge page. So the Family Consumer Sciences body of knowledge, if we think about any discipline, scientific discipline, you need to have foundational information that establishes what is your discipline, what is the research that underpins it, what shows that it is effective and implementable. And so our body of knowledge is what does that for us. And it also spells out the structure of family consumer sciences conceptually from our perspective. And so what you see here is the visual representation of the body of knowledge for us. It is human need, inclusive of community vitality, family resilience, and individual well-being. But within those areas, we also have this ever-changing idea of human ecosystems and lifespan progression and how they interact with each other. And then we know that they're all influenced by things like global independence and technology and innovation. You know, if you just think about artificial intelligence, that's going to change everything, right? We know that all of these different areas impact our work and is why we have to continue our research and development. So the interactive portion, it actually just jumps you down on the page. So if I click human ecosystems, never mind, I lied. It actually opens this downloadable PDF. But we have a longer description that tells you what does human ecosystems mean, you know, and how to interpret that. And there is the full published document as well at the bottom. So if you wanted to go through each of these tabs and read each of the different areas, you can see here there's a download button. The easy button is to come down here and to download the full framework, which is the full document. And I believe it's over 20 pages, which is why we published each individual page separately as well. But you can see that it has each of those independent pages, and then you're welcome to print it from there. And my website, because I'm on bad internet, does not like scrolling through this document, but I encourage you to look through it. Also on the page, you can see we go through each of these different items. So the influencing elements is what I was mentioning with global independence. We've got the integrative elements, the core principles, so human need, and then surrounded by the individual well-being, family resilience, and the community vitality. See each of these as a pop-up, but then also a downloadable PDF. And then finally at the bottom, we have our timeline that walks us through the development. You know, where did this come from? Who developed it? It was originally published by the AAFCS, and then we have periodically updated it to make sure that it is modern and applicable to current society. So it goes through all of the steps that we've taken over time and really walks you through the development of the body of knowledge. And so I think this is pretty neat that it is able to give that. Beyond that, there was an article published in the Journal of Family Consumer Sciences. This is a copy of that. We also have references that will tell you where this information came from, which publications were used in development of the body of knowledge. We do have a document that explains the model and the framework, so the symbolism of it, why we chose the shapes that we did. And then finally, a statement of support from both the board and the task group that developed the body of knowledge. So any questions about that? Did I miss anything that you wanted me to cover? Again, very excited about the interactive.
Yeah, the interactive's cool. I appreciate that the timeline is there too. Um, Maybe just because I've watched it unfold all those years. The body of knowledge before the original one was created was such an abstract thought for me as a student that, I remember questioning, what do you mean by that? You know, and I think now in the way that it's presented on the website, I think it's a thought that can be grasped even by, a first year student that's trying to understand all of what's out in front of them. At least I hope. Um, Before we wrap up, I'm going to Cindy just did it for me. Thank you, Cindy. There is a really short evaluation we're going to ask for you to complete. And then if you're interested in receiving the half PDU, for CFCS, the evaluation asks that you respond with your email in that particular box, and I will at some point afterwards send those certificates out to those that request them. Um, if there's not any other questions, I just want to thank Karen for her time today. I feel like we kind of had a coup in Texas to get our executive director to come be a part of our webinar. When you join AAFCS, you are also joining the Texas affiliate. We hold an annual conference. Our conference will be in July this year on the backside of the teachers conference. It's going to be in Austin. And then we also have our own research journal. So more opportunities to submit publications and to be able to read good research. And that's actually available virtually in a flip book. So we do have some extra benefits in Texas beyond what we get from AAFCS as well. And I just think we're one big happy family too. And so, great relationships in our state. And so thank you again for your time today, Karen. And thank you for those that got on today. We didn't know if we'd have participation or who we would have. And so we're thrilled that you came. Thank you.